23rd, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. We're going live, taking your questions about general content on U.S. immigration law. I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi, founder of the JK Law Firm and founder of the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox. We publish magazines and other content for immigration lawyers themselves. But for you, if you're watching this, you're a person that's going through immigration process, your family is, or your boss is, your employer is, or your employees are. And so we like to take your general questions here. We do every Tuesday for the last 4 years, and hopefully, God willing, another 4 years and 40 years to help you just get a better understanding of what's going on. We're going to get a lot of questions about how long things are going to take, and we're not going to answer those questions to the best of my ability because you never know how long things are going to take, and it's going to take up too much time in the show constantly answering the same question over and over again. But having said that, if you're interested in a marriage, green card case, a fiance visa, we have a really good guide, best out there, frankly. It's called the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide at marriageimmigrationlaw.com. Go to that website, www.marriageimmigrationlaw.com, so you can know about the immigration process. And answer questions here. Generally, we'll give you some guidance on how it all works. We're live on TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. I don't know if we're doing Facebook. There's some issues there. And I think Twitter, X, you have to get a premium account. I don't really use Twitter, or X, so it's with that. We already got questions about how long it's taking for an interview in Armenia. I don't have an answer. It takes forever. Everything takes forever. That's unfortunately the way it is. But you got some questions coming in. How long does it take to get a work permit? There's different kinds of work permits, and you got to see what you mean. But we don't answer questions about timelines in this show. So unfortunately, I can't answer you on that. But as you see, we get into that really quick. X Fernie asks, hey, so once I turn on my physical for my green card, is that the last step? I think you mean turn in your physical. You mean your medical checkup. It may not be the last step. They may need more information from you if you turn in a green card application and do your medical checkup. It could be an endless amount of stuff. Usually it's pretty much last step if there's no interview, but there's no guarantees for that. We never know really what's going to happen until the case is done. There's an old saying that goes, the show isn't over until the fat lady sings. I'm not sure if you can say that anymore, but that's the thing. We have a question. What about Parole in Place, PIP? Well, that program is coming August 19th. We can start filing it. However, the administration has still not put out the exact regulations for us immigration lawyers to read to know how it's going to work out. We have a general idea. They're going to look over 10 years residency history or proof that you're in the United States. No, bad criminal history, and you've been married before June 2024. But how it actually plays out in unique circumstances is supposed to be published in the Federal Registrar, the Code of Federal Regulation, or CFR section, how it's going to work out. And to really do good lawyering and guidance, I got to read that. It's probably going to be 100 pages, but we have to read that so I can know the exact answers. So we can talk in generalities, and people are already signing up, clients getting paid on it. I don't feel comfortable doing that yet because we don't know how it's going to work out. For most cases, it's going to be easy enough, but people who have certain complicated issues, we got to deal with that in a more, we have to just know what's going on more to be able to give exact information. Hopefully, we'll get that soon and take it from there. Again, we're live on YouTube and all these different places. If you're watching on TikTok, because we end up getting a million questions on TikTok, most of them asking about timelines that I skip. It's hard to keep track. So I do recommend following us on YouTube, JQK Law or U.S. Immigration Talk. Find us there. Ask your questions there on YouTube for our live show because there's more likelihood I'm going to see your questions because the systems we have through this program that we're hosting this is more easily visible as opposed to TikTok. Excellent. Ask I-485 and I-130. After I-130 approved, I-485 is still pending. What would happen next? Marriage base. You got to wait. Sometimes it takes a day to get approved afterwards, and sometimes a year. I don't know why, but that does happen. So you got to wait. Chandrawatis asks, hi, my daughter paid for me and my husband's green card 9 months ago, and can I get it? I'm not sure what you mean paid for it. Does that mean your immigrant visa was approved and you paid the fee and you entered the United States? Typically, the green card is supposed to come in like a week or two, sometimes 3-4 months. Sometimes it gets lost, so you should call USCIS to make sure it wasn't lost in the mail. If it was, it's your fault, and even though it wasn't your fault, and you have to pay money for an I-90, or maybe this just hasn't been sent. So I don't know what's going on in your case, but contact the agency involved if the scenario that is happening and it's there, and do it. Gurmindar's MVC timeline is different for everybody. Mahjoub says, does a medical exam necessary to get a work permit? So when people say work permit, it's like, what do you exactly mean? There's work visas. If you're filed for asylum, you get a work authorization. So you get a work permit for that. It's an employment authorization document. But if you get a C9 category adjustment of status-based green card, you're filing for a green card, a work permit, and you're filing for a green card and the work permit that comes with that. You don't necessarily need to do a medical for the work permit, but you're going to need to do a medical. So that's just how it is. Excellent says we answer that question. I-130 processing for SIGIS, I don't know. How to check if I registered to vote, make sure I am not before filing authorization. Well, look up at the states that you lived in and check out they're online. Like in California, you could look up voter registration by putting in your like name and like date of birth and social security number, and it comes up whether you registered to vote in that state. So most states have this kind of program. Check it out and do that before doing anything else. Can I divorce no issues after getting my 10-year green card? I can't say no issues because I don't know about your case. Was it a real marriage? Was it a fake marriage? But it's, I mean, at the end of the day, if you don't want to be in a relationship or it's a bad relationship, you could get a divorce. But it could be issues if you need to do citizenship. They could get into your relationship and ask, was this relationship real? What the situation was. Typically, it's okay. But like I had a case where this woman, when the I-751 was pending rule of conditions to make a 2-year green card to a 10-year green card, she moved out. But didn't tell the government. And at citizenship, they asked her about it, and she's like, "Well, the relationship wasn't good, so we like separated early." And like, "Why don't you tell us about this?" And they denied citizenship for that. So she wasn't prepared. We would have prepared her better to answer that question. So it that's what having a lawyer is about, preparation. It's like you just got to prepare well. Maybe it's not good to file. Who knows? Depending on how it all looks. So hopefully my internet's being good. Usually internet's pretty terrible in this in my house, but usually I've bombarded with questions at this point, so I'm assuming the internet's not doing too good if we're not getting a gazillion questions right now. Mike says, my citizenship case sent for quality review with approval recommendation. What that means? It means they got to review it before they approve it. Says, what should I do? My fiance case expedited was denied once by U.S. Embassy Islamabad. If you had a fiance case denied, we don't typically refile a fiance case. We get, do you mean the expedite was denied or the case was denied? If the expedite is denied, it is what it is. Everyone in Pakistan wants their case expedited. You want out of like literally like 20,000 people probably, unfortunately, but that's that. But if it's denied for fiance visa, then you got to probably get married, but we need to analyze your case to see what's going on. Dave says, can I apply for a green card if we don't share bills or rent because he's a soldier surgeon overseas? Yeah. So if you're, first of all, we do free chats and consultations with active duty military families for these kind of cases. So Dalia, email the office and let me know it's you. Have some sort of proof that it's your husband in the military, so everyone on the chat won't email me. But when you marry a military person, there's all these other documents you get. You're going to get a military spouse ID card. You're going to get Trident or TriStar, some sort of health insurance, and not only health insurance, but like life insurance, all that kind of stuff. So that shows relationship. So you don't necessarily need to share rent or bills, but you need you have all these other documents that are available to you that you can use part of the case. That's what we use in military spouse cases. Haven't had issues in the past. We don't answer questions about timelines. So if you're asking about how long things take, I'm not going to answer. I'm going to skip it. So don't ask again because I'll have to mute you. Says, what should I do? My fiance case expert denied once. Then I don't know what to tell you. It's just, it is what it is. Corey says, how long does it take to bring your spouse to USA? It depends on if you're a green card holder, if you're a citizen. It depends on what country your spouse is in. All these can have massive factors from 1.5 years to 5 years or longer. Bala says, I'm waiting for Islamabad interview, 60 months. Again, I don't know what to tell you. These timelines are terrible for Pakistan. Alex, can a U.S. citizen who took the test and passed get their citizenship when they get deported? I don't know. You're saying, can a U.S. citizen, Alex, if you're a U.S. citizen, why would you take a U.S. citizenship test? I don't, and why would you get deported? If you're making a mistake, you say you were a green card holder and you did a citizenship exam, just because you didn't pass a citizenship test doesn't mean they're going to deport you. If there's issues with your case, that is, but does it fully make sense what you're saying? And plus, we got to see why they would deny you, what the accusations were. Insta says, how hard is it to file a marriage case to be covered by yourself? I have everyone daily. I have people who contact us who messed up the marriage immigration case. So if you go on Facebook forums, they'll say, don't hire a lawyer. It's too expensive. It's a waste of time. And for a lot of cases, it might be the case. But every day, people contact me and they messed up and they really mess up. So like they just fill out the form wrong. So all of a sudden it takes, like, instead of 2 years, it takes 5 years, or they get denied, have to restart the process. And if you're married to a green card holder, that means instead of 5-year process, it's like 10-year process. So how hard is it? I don't know. I can't say something's hard or easy. It's easy for me because I do it all day. I don't know how hard it is going to be for you. If you got the money for it, it's a no-brainer. How hard is it to cut your own hairs? You could do it. It's not going to look too well. But the consequences are a bad haircut, or a month later, your hair is going to grow out. Bad consequences of immigration case are even you being deported. I've had cases where people file and they mess up and they get themselves in trouble and they try to lose your green card. Now, that's not always the case, but it's like I've seen it as bad as that to mere delays, which is not mere. If you're separated from your spouse or kids for an extra couple of years, this can be a disaster. So download our guide, marriageimmigrationlaw.com, www.marriageimmigrationlaw.com, 40 plus pages of information on that, and then schedule a consultation and we can take it from there. But if you got the money, frankly, this really just comes out the funds. It's a no-brainer. Hire a good immigration lawyer. Check out our reviews. Go type in JQK Law into Google. See what the reviews are, the good and the bad. What you're going to find is everyone's happy with who's actually hired us. Everyone loves us because that's what we're all about. The only reviews are people who didn't hire us or like stuff like that, or they just don't like to pay consultation fees, so they complain about it. Expedite was denied. Sorry. How long is I-130 for U.S. citizen spouse overseas? File overnight, about 12 months average for a U.S. citizen spouse I-130. Wolf says, how much would the whole process cost about? The different processes. Are you doing consular processing or not? Which country? Are you going to have a joint sponsor or not? Are there inadmissibility issues we got to deal with? So we don't go into prices here because we don't know your case, and I'm not going to say some random numbers that I can't. You come to us later and the price is more, and you're like, why did you lie to me? So we don't give out numbers until we know more about your case. Louis says, how does one close an asylum case if you've got a marriage green card? To close an asylum case or withdraw it, you got to send a signed letter to the asylum office that's handling the case and let them know. Why is Islamabad taking so long? That's the way they are. Under Cuban adjustment through marriage is a good sign to receive I-693. I-693 is a medical checkup. It's not good or bad. It's just part of the process. They require it. Don says, why is my affidavit fee now processing? I'm guessing you're at the National Visa Center stage and it's not working. If this continues for over a week, contact the National Visa Center. They have a lot of glitches with their website. Right now, for example, if you're dealing with consular processing, the National Visa Center to get a visa or for a green card or for regular visa, the website for DS-160, DS-260 is just constantly crashing. And it makes like everything we do take 3 times as longer because it keeps crashing and we can't save. So that's been a really annoying thing we're dealing with. Lauren says, is it normal for my case to be refused? I'm not sure. If you're dealing with the embassy after an interview, they say cases refused means they're just working on it. So that's normal. But at the same time, I don't know if it's normal for you. You might have particular issues where it's really bad. So most of the time it's normal, but it might not be for you. So there's no real normal, abnormal. It's like what's going on in your case and your facts. So we could do this on that. It's not a thing where you can average. I said this example last time. What is the normal amount of children a woman has is 2.1 globally. Which woman in the world has 2.1 children? And so like it's like either you have 2 children or 3, or you have 0 or 4. So normal answer, if you want to average it out, is 2.1, but that's doesn't make sense. So in my group of my wife's friends, we all have 2 to 3 kids. But there's groups of women out there who are groups and that not married, have 0 kids. And so what's normal for them is different from normal people. So it's not a good way to think about immigration, about normal or even averages, especially when it comes to timelines. It's all over the place. Trini says, I live in the U.S., green card. Should I get married abroad or the U.S. before I file I-130? That's a personal decision how you want to get married. Usually getting married abroad is a big headache because there's a lot of extra paperwork. So most of our clients, we don't recommend doing that, but it's a lot of a personal decision. Plus, we got to know more about your background to see what's a good decision. Download our guide first, marriageimmigrationlaw.com. Trinidadny, I don't know what the name is, but and then schedule a consultation. So go in with eyes open to what the process entails, schedule a consultation, and take it from there. Louise says, how can I travel internationally with the green card if my foreign passport is expired? Renew your passport. That's easy. Adrian, how long have you been rocking the Fox look? I'm not sure what the Fox look is. Hopefully, it's a good-looking look. What is I-751 evidence? I-751 is removal of conditions to keep your to make a 2-year marriage-based green card into a 10-year one. The evidence is just evidence that your relationship is real. So it could be joint tax returns, driver licenses with the same address, joint bank statements, having children's birth certificates, parents' names listed, joint property, leases, and essentially it's an endless list. It just depends on your personal life. Sahri Shirazi says, how much time does the embassy take to make the interview appointment in Islamabad? As you said, I don't know. It's going to be 1, 2, or 3 years. Chandrath, if my daughter pays for me and my husband's green card, she paid $440. So 440, that's 2. So that means you paid 220 fees. So it's at the time it was 220 when you paid. I think they increased it to 35 or something like that. But call USCIS immediately to see if they sent it out and was lost or if it's just taking too long. So you need to call USCIS. When your daughter paid the fee, there was a case number associated with each separate fee payment. So you're going to need that when you call in to ask about the case and what's going on. Imzuli says, why does the law take so long? Yeah, unfortunately, it's just the situation. It's not bad. Don, how can I contact the NVC about the fee now processing, or should I continue to wait? No, contact them if it's been more than a week. Just go to Google, type in National Visa Center contact page. There's a there's an online page where you could fill in questions to send it to them. I don't know what this URL is. I just go to NBC Contact and then it comes. So it's like it's a contact page, or it asks your name, the petitioner's name, the case number, dates of birth, and a brief description of what you're looking for. What's the average of CBP to respond? I don't know what that means. Average to CBP respond. Respond to what, and what average you're looking for. And honestly, I don't like talking about averages because I explained earlier it's a useless statistic to be able to, for the most part. Shema, my niece came on a B1 visa. She's 13 years old. I want to adjust her status. Can I adopt her as a permanent resident? We don't do adoption cases. You probably can't do that. Especially as a permanent resident. So most likely you won't be able to do something, but we don't do adoption cases. So I'd recommend consulting with an attorney that does, but it's unlikely that you'll be able to do what you want, but who knows? There might be exceptions. You'd probably want to have them go to just be a student visa holder to hold them over, but contact attorney does adoption cases. So immigration adoption. And on how long does administrative processing take for DS-255, however long they want to take. What if I cannot renew my foreign passport? Can I apply for reentry permit? Reentry permit is not a passport. It's for being able to be outside of certain. So if certain foreign governments will give visas and then a reentry permit, you got to see if that works, and that's possible. If you're an asylee, you can use a refugee travel document, but you will need to get visas from these countries. You can't go, for example, most Middle Eastern countries with the refugee travel document. But I don't see why you wouldn't be able to renew your passport unless you're a asylee, and then you have the refugee travel document. You got to apply for individual visas for every country. Botasio says, do you think pending asylum filed May 24 can affect my H-1B application? We need more information. So if it's, you have to maintain status, do H-1B change of status. So we got to see what's going on there. H-1B is dual intent, so it doesn't necessarily mean you can't do it, but officers do whatever they want to do. If you have to go to the embassy for consular processing, it could destroy the asylum case, or you might be subject to some sort of ban on reentry if it takes too long to get the interview. So it's too complex a question to be able to answer here. Al says, my clock is not working. What's wrong? Exactly. Sharyar says, can I change my status from B2, B1, B2 to H1B, H3B as I'm USA, get jobs? Technically, it's possible to do that, but it's unlikely because of the timelines of how long these things take and how long the B1, B2 is. So most likely it's not going to happen, but it's not impossible. Shaw says, after how long can you apply for citizenship? I have a detailed video of this on YouTube about how long it takes for a 5-year process and what you got to think about. So you got to have a green card at least for 5 years for most cases, or 3 years if married to a U.S. citizen. Maybe faster if your spouse is an international worker for some international company or U.S. military. It really depends. But the 5-year process, I have a 20-minute video that discusses that. So we can't really fit that in here. So go to YouTube, type in JQK law, citizenship timelines, and this is the best video out there. I have 485 approved. What's next? We got to wait for your green card. Jenny says, I'm in Mexico waiting for 601. Can I apply for a CBP1 appointment? You probably could, but we don't do CBP1 kind of asylum kind of stuff. So I can't talk about that. But since I have F1 visa, OPT, well, that's good. Yeah, you could file change status H1B if it's approved, even with asylum. Asylum is dual intent, but they can always come back and make a mistake. So who knows? But it's not impossible. Lavi says, I applied a green card last month, then I make a count online USS. They say 3 months interview. It's unreliable what timelines they say. Daniel says, if they request the I-693, does that mean they're waiving the interview? Most of the time, but not necessarily. Like 90%, 99% of the time. But 1%, there's tens of thousands of these cases, if not hundreds of thousands. So when I say 1% chance that you still have an interview, if there's 100,000 cases, that's 1,000 people that are going to get hit by that. So it still might be you. So that's why these averages don't make any sense. Generally, it's probably not going to happen, but it could be. So I can't say something with certainty like that. Can I apply for asylum after finishing J1? You can file for asylum at any time you like. You just have to have a good asylum case. Hanun, can my mom file for her minor grandson? Her daughter has passed away and she's an orphan now. Went to file. There's no direct filing in that sense. We need to see if citizenship could have passed down to the child. I'm sorry to hear about the loss of the mother. That's horrible. So, and then if there's adoption, you got to look into adoption potentially, but we don't handle these kind of particular fact patterns. So I'd recommend consulting with the firms. Masa says, can we file I-130 and I-431 forms together? I-130, you could file. I-131 is for a reentry permit. It's for advanced parole. If you mean for advanced parole, no. I mean, not really. I-130 and I-131, those two don't go together. I-131 is either standalone for reentry permit or refugee travel document or advanced parole, either independently or with the green card application. And there's one other way to get I-131. I can't remember what it was. So it doesn't make sense why you want to file this together. We need more information. I'm not sure if it works because it might be more to what you're trying to tell me and you don't have the full information there. That's why I can't give proper guidance on that. James, I heard in one of your videos that you don't work with clients with a criminal record. We work with me if I have misdemeanor that was later dismissed, never pled guilty, trying to apply. Yeah, if it's honestly, if it's serious criminal stuff, because the thing about criminal stuff, one is if someone has serial criminal stuff, I just don't want to deal with them, frankly. So that is what it is. There's other lawyers that will. But if it's a misdemeanor that's dismissed, it's doable. But the thing about immigration is we got to study the statute of what the criminal situation is. And sometimes it gets really complicated. So if it's like drug related, it gets pretty complicated. It depends on where you live. There's so much analysis that has to happen that I just don't specialize in that. But what I recommend, James, is email us and send a copy of the dismissal order and the police report if you have it. Let me read it first. And if it seems like out of my depth, then I'll let you know. If not, we give it a shot because we are going to be filing a lot of these PIP cases. So it's good that you didn't plead guilty. So that's the number one thing. But if the charges were like, beating up a spouse with a weapon, that could potentially, even with those charges, that could be a problem. So we got to see what the facts are and take it from there. But it seems like probably doable. But just hit us up. Give me the report so I can read it, and then I'll take it from there. Kazi says, does citizenship eligibility start after getting 10-year green card or 2-year green card? It starts from the time you get a green card. So whether it's 2-year or 10-year. It was petty theft. Okay, so petty theft could be serious, but actually it's probably not. So we got to see what the amount of it is. The fact that it was dismissed is good, but we have to see what the dismissal says in there. You said not guilty. That's good, but there's no contest could be problematic. So I got to see what it is. Send the court order and potentially the arrest report. But it's a while. I mean, probably for PIP, parole in place, it'll be good, James, because there's no charges. They'll probably let it go. For DACA, they let that stuff go. But I got to read the reports myself before I say that for some certainty. Or at least at the end of the day, it's discretion of the government, but like confidence enough to say it's worth doing. Because I don't want to take your money and submit something and identify it to the government that's like doesn't have a good chance. It probably is good, but I don't want to just guess at your life. It's too important to just say yes or no like that. I like to think about it. Miles says, can I request urgent advanced parole to see my sister who's diagnosed with cancer? I'm sorry to hear that. And going to have life-saving surgery. Yeah, you can always, anything you can always request expedites. So yeah, you could do that. You just got to contact the agency and make the request, have evidence of the surgery just in case needed, translate the documents if needed, but do so as soon as possible. Ariana says, I'm a green card holder and I want to bring my wife. What's my supposed to file I-130? Download our guide, Ariam Afghan. Go to marriageimmigrationlaw.com. Yeah, I-130 is the first form along with form I-130A. But download our guide and then schedule a consultation after that. The guide will give you the general background of what's supposed to happen. Hey, Destiny, I saw you have posted other questions in the group. Thanks for coming. Do you know why some consulates schedule interviews out of order? Some couples have waited months for KY interview in Casablanca, but we waited a month to get our letter. Yeah, that's why people ask me how long it takes. It's like I have cases we just filed and they get approved 2 months later, and I have other cases 2 years pending and nothing is happening. And it's really annoying, but that's just how the government's working. Miles follows up, how long can I request to stay out of the U.S. on urgent advance parole? 6 days possible? It depends on what they give you. A lot of times it's more open-ended. But if you do emergency advance parole as opposed to expedite advance parole, they're different. It depends on how cool they want to be about it. I went to one interview once that was a similar situation at the USCIS office to get emergency advance parole. And they were going to give us 30. And I'm like, could you give us 60? They're like, okay, we'll give you 60. So it depends on how cool they're going to be about it and what the reason is and need and all that kind of stuff. It's possible to get 60. Carlos says, hi, I have an issue where I have been checking the status of my case, USCIS, and it shows they sent an RFE notice to me over 2 months ago. I never received it. You need to contact USCIS as soon as possible because they could deny your case for non-response. Let them know that this happens to try to buy yourself some time. Unfortunately, they mess up like this all the time. The notice, though mail, I formed the finally. So they can't provide you. You got to call and say it's missing, get a congressperson involved, get a community officer involved, Carla. This is one of the main reasons that you have an immigration lawyer. So people that are watching, Carla here got a request for evidence. That means the government has a issue with the case and need more documents. They usually only give you 30 to 90 days to respond. It's been 2 months. They haven't got the notice. If you had a lawyer, the lawyer would have access to it and probably get a copy and have an eye on it to try to solve it as soon as possible. Plus, a good immigration lawyer knows the tricks of the trade to try to get an answer or try to fix the situation in some form or fashion. And that's where the value of a lawyer came in. You know, frankly, Carl, you might have a perfect case where you did everything right. Most of the time when we do get RFEs, it's the government making a mistake, especially in the affidavit support. So that's where the value of the lawyer comes in. I don't like to scare people. I like to have consultations. I don't say, oh, well, this happens. I don't want to scare people into getting money. So I don't really get into it too much, but I'm probably doing a disservice, not scaring them to know, like, these are the problems we see with the government. Unfortunately, it sucks they have paid this much money, but it is what it is, you know. Timeline for Montreal Embassy. I don't have timelines. Carla, and that should call by what it tells online. You know that if you didn't get an RFE, you got to have that. I have a lawyer been asking them to please check for me, and they keep telling me they didn't get nothing. Well, then your lawyer has to find a way either with contacting a congressperson or more like the community relations officer to try to figure this out because it's a big issue. I'm not sure why lawyers doesn't want, and there might be more to it. So I don't want to say lawyers don't know what they're doing, but they got to figure this out. Everyone says, hello, good afternoon. I have I-130 for my wife. Been waiting 17 months. It's saying case being actively reviewed, Vermont Service Center. Abraham, if you're a green card holder, you're doing an I-130, those take 2 years. So that's normal. If you're a U.S. citizen, it's starting to get outside processing times, but it's not too abnormal, 17 months. Destiny, I've heard that consular officers don't always look at your documents at interviews since documents can be fake. That's true. For X, one could fake a tax return easily. What do you think? Yeah, that's a lot of times they don't care about documents. Some stuff, passports and marriage certificates, they got to look at, but yeah, other documents, they don't. A lot of times they don't believe in it. Carlos is perfect. Thank you. You're welcome. I'm sorry, Carly. You got to deal with that craziness. Jasmine says, case was ready for June 14th. Filed. How long more? I don't know. Just things take a while. Abraham, I'm a U.S. citizen. Let me see. What was your question beforehand? So yeah, 17 months is pushing on the outside of how long it should take. Fortunately, there's nothing you can do about it if it goes over 2 years even. So it sucks like that. HA, I want to extend my B2 medical visa for my daughter's treatment. Sorry that you have to go through that, but I have my son that I can't send home alone either. Enrollment, should I do? Well, when you do your extension request for I-539, you can include your children there too. As long as the child's under 21, it's minor. If they're older, they'll need to do their own independent extension, but that's something that just do with your case. All right, yeah, so many questions. We're almost done with the time, and there weren't even that many questions, but good questions this time. I really liked it. Hey, lawyer, I failed I-130 for my wife. I filed it. How long will it take? Probably 12 months, but this case, 17 months, nothing's happening. But typically 12 months for our cases. Lavi, we'll take 3 or 4 more questions and call it a day. Noblet says, I'm an immigration officer. Write in your passport, no COS. Can that person get a green card? Yeah, when the CBP officer at the airport write no change of status, COS, no EOS, extension of status, no AOS, it doesn't mean anything. We'd want to review your case first to see what's going on, see if there's some nuance that pops up, but that doesn't mean anything typically. So we'd have to review your case. I can't say for certain your case is okay, but typically it doesn't mean anything. Peter says, can I file I-601 waiver on religious beliefs? I think you're talking about religious waiver for the vaccines and stuff. We don't really specialize in that. It's possible, but you have to have a strong case, and this might take a while to get adjudicated. It might not be approved, but we don't do vaccine waivers. A lot of lawyers don't believe that people should give waivers. That's not my reason. It's just we haven't done them historically, so we're not like the best attorneys. Law firms that can do better than us for vaccine waivers. I'm always just keep it real with people. Okay, they had 2 or 3 more questions on TikTok, and we'll call it a day. I've been doing a lot of interviews and consultations today. When a priority date 2018 with an approved I-130 filed by Green Card, should I be next? Consular processing should start. So 2018 is a while ago, but it depends on what kind of I-130 you have. Was it marriage? Was it a child, a brother or sister? So no more information is needed. Schedule consultation. And 2 more questions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 says case is ready for review. I don't know how long it's going to take. Hey, lawyer. Okay, so these timelines. My parents for asylum, you've been pending for 2 months. You have to have, I think it's like 150 days before you file for work authorization with asylum. Dylan says, my parents came USA tourist visa. I want to apply for green card. My parents, which form should I fill out? Download our marriage guide. It's almost the same documents except for the I-130A. So go to marriageimmigrationlaw.com. But download, schedule an immigration session. Based on your name, you might have Indian background, and Indian parents have marriage certificate and birth certificate issues. So we want to talk about that, have it reviewed. Destiny says, thanks so much. Have a good night. Thank you, Destiny. God bless you. Telcom, Texas. That's awesome. Requesting a FOIA might make my process faster. No, it's unrelated. Citizen mom will petition for me, 21 plus single. Can I marry to help my partner? You can, but it's going to take your case into the F3 category. It's going to take longer to get. But you might as well, because if you get the green card, then turn around and file for your spouse, it's going to take forever. Now, again, your mom has to be a citizen. If you're a green card holder, it doesn't work if you're married. Okay, 1 more question. Do you help expedite requests for I-130? I mean, we can help you request it, but it's up to USCIS what they want to do. Could you give us information on a work program? There's just too many work visa categories. It's just too generalistic thing to talk about. Tourist visa, please. I'm not sure what your question is. What happens after I-130 is approved? I have a detailed video on this on YouTube, so do jqklaw.com, I-130 approved. On TikTok, too, we have a bunch of videos on this, so that's the best way to go there. Okay, let me find one good, juicy question to answer before we go. Hey, lawyer, if I file for asylum, someone sponsors a job, is that possible? Most of the time it's not, but they might make a mistake and approve it. They do that sometimes. Zan says, which documents you need to file in for your wife from Africa? Well, Africa. I mean, come on, man, you're African. You can't just say Africa. You have to use the country. That's one of my pet peeves. Everyone just says Africa. Like, it's, there's a lot of countries in Africa. Each one's different. For example, if you're from South Africa, they're really big on having the non-abridged version of the birth certificate, marriage certificate. If you're from Nigeria, they have different documents. So it really, generally, in marriage case, if you download our guide, Zlan Zata, marriageimmigrationlaw.com, www.marriageimmigrationlaw.com, and you get, it has a guide. And so it's not about Africa. Each country you're from might have specific documents, but that's that. Generally, it's all the same for everyone else. Hi, do you do family from immigration Pakistan, USA? Yes, we do that. One of our biggest cases are from Pakistan. Surprisingly, we get a lot of. I have a lot of Pakistani cases. Okay, so we're gonna end questions on TikTok, and HA follows up. Okay, Kula says, can I revise my DS260 and I-864 for visa interview? I-864, yes. DS260, usually not. Is that the Liberia? I haven't done a Liberian case. I don't know about that. Can you do a video on Cuban Adjustment Act for marriage couples? I don't do Cuban Adjustment Act. Really, lawyers from Florida typically do that. So contact a Florida immigration lawyer. They do Cuban, because I don't deal with Cubans at all, really, in LA. HA, so my son can be in school if I apply for my extension. Well, the rules on this are kind of weird. CBP has a memo that says that if the schooling is incident to the parent's status, it's possible. It's could technically be a violation going to school, but if they're minor, at the end of the day, it's probably not going to matter. I can't give official guidance on this in this public forum. But if it's, they said the DOS, Department of State, says that it's okay as well. USCIS doesn't have an opinion on it either way, which means they can do whatever the hell they want to do, which is annoying. But at the end of the day, if you got a minor child, you can't see that at home. So there's some guidance that says some agencies say that. Unfortunately, immigration has multiple agencies involved, and each say different things. But CBP and DOS kind of say if it's incident to the parent status, okay. And if you're here for a B2 medical, you can say, well, I'm here with the medical. I got to be with the other kids, so this one has to go to school. So I'd argue that. They could always be an officer that hassles you later, so I can't guarantee results. But I would err on the side of the kid going to school. But with these disclaimers that say whatever I say, I'm not God here. I'm not the government here. I can't say you're good or bad per se if they don't want to play ball. But generally, that's the situation there. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. If you want to schedule a private consultation, go to our website first, jqqlaw.com/contact. That's jqqlaw.com/contact. I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. Thank you all for joining. And I guess with that, we'll be back again next Tuesday, 4 p.m. Pacific. Plus, follow us on TikTok and YouTube. We do pop-ups where if I have time here or there, I'll just jump up for half an hour and take questions. So if you're following us, you'll get the notifications. LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. I don't know what Facebook is working on, but YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and one more of those. I can't remember which one. LinkedIn, I guess I said that already. All right, everyone. God bless. Be safe. I'll see you all next week, if not sooner.